This is Randy Crane, author of Faith in the Magic Kingdom, and you're listening to Tales from the Mouse House.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land.
Welcome to Tales from the Mouse House Disneyland podcast, episode 96.
For July 20th, 2014.
Good evening. This is Julie Andrews. Once upon a time...
Happy birthday, Disneyland!
Happy birthday!
59 years old. They don't look it, do they?
No, they don't.
Well, we got a big, huge show for you. And it's going to be a pretty big show, too, I think so. We have our good friend Nancy Temple Rodrigue joining us on this episode. She's going to chat about her Hidden Mickey Adventure series. She's got a new book out. And she's at the Disneyana event right now. So if you're listening to this before 5 p.m. today, which is, Sunday, July 20th, head over to the Wyndham Hotel, and she gives information about that. Nancy Temple Rodrigue is back. She's got a few fun things to share from a very fun location. How you doing, Nancy?
Hello there. I'm doing great. How are you two?
We're doing great.
Yeah, not as great as you, it sounds. Wow.
Hey, somebody has to have all the fun.
No kidding. So, you've got some pretty fun things to share. There's a new book out on the market right now?
Yes, it's very exciting. It's book number 3 in the Hidden Mickey Adventure series. It's called The Mermaid's Tale. And if you like to relive some of the old attractions that are no longer there, we take you into the history of them, like the old submarine lagoon, the mermaids. Remember that they used to have mermaids that swam in the lagoon.
Yes.
And then there was also the motorboat cruise. So along the storyline, we have one of the mermaids from the lagoon was asked by Walt to do something special for him. And she wasn't able to finish her quest, and it kind of upset her. And now, years later, she's still trying to get it done, even though Walt's long gone. And she's taken a little bit of a dangerous turn, and she brings in Peter and his friend Katie into this, and it's a really exciting adventure.
Now these books are so much fun, and you've spoken before on the show about the kind of the genesis of this series,
right.
But could you tell our friends just again really quickly where
absolutely.
did the idea for these books come from?
Well, I had a co-author on the very first 2 books, and he had the idea that Walt left something behind before he died in 1966. And that was kind of the genesis of the idea. And he asked me to help him write it. And we did the first 2 books together, but then I just kind of took off. And I have the 4 books in the original series, and now I have 3 books in the new series, the Hidden Mickey Adventures, which is kind of like the next generation. They're still following clues that Walt left behind. We're still exploring the history of the park and reliving rides that aren't there anymore. But we're still following Walt's ideas while the kids are tracking down clues that Walt himself left behind. So it's very exciting. It's educational. The history that I put is actual history of the park, all built around a fun quest of this family, now the next generation of the kids, of trying to track down these things that Walt put into place so his legacy would continue.
Yeah, and what I like about all of this series of books is that they're appropriate for all age groups, correct?
Yes. Yeah, we wanted to do it that way. We thought with the first series that it would be for adults, and we found that, the kids just love the idea. They love Disneyland. They love tracking down things. They love seeing hidden things in the park that they might not have noticed that I like to put into the books. And then when it was time to start the new series, I figured it was time for the next generation. So now we have the kids of the ones that you've met in the first series, getting into the same trouble that Adam and Brent did when they were running the adventures in the first place.
Yeah, and you know what I like about the books is that I think that I know most everything that there is to know about Disneyland, but every once in a while it's like, I didn't know that.
Well, that's what's fun for me, too. I've just started research for my next book. As you know, reading them, I kind of leave a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end of each book. I wrap up the storyline, but I always leave a little something. So I've started the research for my next one called Revenge of the Wolf for next year. And I just get so involved in the research. It's just fascinating. There's one book that's out that I have probably 8 little markers in it already for ideas.
So, speaking of research, what kind of research do you do for these books? I mean, obviously, to our knowledge, at least Walton really never did leave anything behind, but what kind of research goes into one of these stories?
Well, I can neither confirm nor deny the presence of actual artifacts from Walt. But no, there's so many books out there from people who actually knew him, who worked with him. There's ones who've worked at the parks. There's historians out there that research every angle of the parks. And I go through all of their books. Plus, the really hard part is actually having to go to the park itself and riding the rides. And, it's just so hard.
That's tough.
I know.
If you need a research assistant.
You know how I have quite a list. But I will keep you in mind.
There you go.
But, I do get ideas from my readers, too. They go, do you remember this thing over at... I go, I haven't thought of that. Or somebody's even given me, in the last book of the series, Peter and the Missing Mansion, one of my readers had an actual experience from his childhood that took place in the Haunted Mansion. And, it was kind of traumatic for him, and he told me about it, and I go, ooh, can I put that in my story? He goes, sure. So I get ideas from all over, and it's encouraging and fascinating.
Abraham Lincoln could always have a secret,
Oh, I haven't forgotten Abe. I haven't worked him in yet, but I haven't forgotten him.
Yeah, maybe there's a secret message that they have to find a clue for, and then they can hit a button and Abe spouts something off.
Well, I did use something similar to that in Hidden Mickey Adventures 1, Peter and the Wolf, where they had to use one of the machines in the Candy Palace. And, you put in a penny and it plays a little movie. But according to the clue, they had to keep putting in pennies, and they played it over and over and over. And when it got to the right spot, a different message came up, and that was from Walt. Then it played once, and then they could smell ammonia, so it was being destroyed.
Oh. How fun would that be?
Yeah,
kind of like a Mission Impossible moment.
Do. Yeah, but that's another fun thing, is coming up with these, ideas on things that people are familiar with. So I do tell people, once you read the books, you'll never look at the park the same again.
That's true. That is very, very true. So do you have plans for many, many more installments in this series?
Well, I never say for sure how many. I just know that, the next one I'm starting now, and hopefully when I get to the end of that one, I'll leave another little cliffhanger for something to come after that. I've introduced a new character in Mermaid's Tale, and she'll have a big role in the next book also.
They're really fun. I really, really enjoy reading all of your books.
Oh,
and so, do you have any plans to do another, I'm sorry, the title is just slipping my mind, the ones where you actually take the book into the park with you?
Oh, the game books?
Yeah, the game
yes,
books,
thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, well, right now I have game books for Disneyland, Disney California Adventure, and one for Florida's Magic Kingdom. And I'd have to do a lot more research for Florida to do one there, but it's possible to do one for each of the parks in Florida.
That would be pretty cool. Now, I know from talking with you in the past that you love to write, and you've actually written a lot of things. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you wrote, it was a screenplay or a screenplay idea for Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Right. When I had a lot of time on my hand, when Star Trek: Next Generation first came out, I had my favorite characters, and I noticed they weren't doing storylines like I wanted. So I go, I could write one. So, with only that, idea on how to write, I just wrote some very short stories that dealt with two of my favorite characters. And I showed them to a friend of mine. She goes, "Hey, that's pretty good. What are you going to do with them now?" And I go, "Well, I wrote it. You read it. That's probably it." She goes, No. You need to send it to Paramount. And, naivete, I'm going, "Oh, that's a great idea." So I sent 2 copies, one to one of the regular actors and one to a guest star. And, of course, the regular actors don't get to see things like that. That's out of their legal limits. But the guest star was given his copy, and he read it, and he actually phoned me and left a message and said, "I like what you did, but it's a little short. You either need to make it a screenplay or a novel." Oops. I don't know if you can hear that or not.
Yeah.
I'm at the Disneyana convention, and they're doing announcements right now.
Very nice. And that guest star was John Delancey, right?
That's right, who played Q.
He was one of my favorites, too.
Oh, I love the character because he could do anything, go anywhere, and is so sarcastic. And I just love that.
Yeah, and I always felt that, now we're getting a little off topic here, but I always felt that Q kind of had a connection to Charlie X from the original series.
I wonder that or Trelane.
Trelane, yeah. Well, they all kind of fit into that same mold for me.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Disneyana, you guys are there doing some fun stuff. Now, for any of our listeners who may not be familiar with what Disneyana is, could you maybe just wrap it up and let them know in a tight little bow what Disneyana is and why you guys are there?
Well, this is a huge fan base of people of all walks of life. There's people who worked at the parks, there's people who write about the parks, and then there's fans of the park, and they all get together a couple times a year here in Garden Grove, California. And they bring in Imagineers from the park, like Tony Baxter was giving presentations. They have original Mouseketeers that come in. They have the banquets where they bring in legends, and they'll do a speech, and there's signings, and it's just fascinating. And everyone here shares the love of Disney. Right now I'm surrounded by all these wonderful Mickey Mouse merchandise, and I'm just going nuts on saying, want it, got it, need it. But it's a tremendous group of people, and usually on Disneyland's anniversary day on July 17th, the day it opened, they all go to the park. There's no meetings or speeches, but they all go to the park and have a fun day and take a big picture in front of the castle and then come back the next day for more of the lectures. And they even have games that they play. They did a take on the match game yesterday. So it's just a great group of people that there's chapters all over. If you just look up Disneyana Convention on the website, it would bring them up. And you could learn how to either join a chapter or find out when the next meetings are.
And you guys are in a chapter?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we're in the main Disneyana chapter.
Now, you guys have a booth set up there, right?
Yes, we do.
So, what are you guys offering? As if I didn't know.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said, what are you guys offering at your booth?
Let's see. Books. And I also have a lovely pendant that you'll see on the cover of Hidden Mickey 2. It all started.
Yeah.
So we have the pendants that we're selling also. But I have a nice little line of books here, all waiting for people to come by, and I will sign and personalize also.
Now, how long is this Disneyana event?
Usually they have the main one in July, and it's usually 4 or 5 days, depending on when Disneyland's anniversary falls. And they also have a sale in February here at the same place. It's not as large as this one, but I've heard it's as much fun as this. But if you're interested in any kind of Disney memorabilia, this is the place to find it.
And where exactly is it right now?
Well, right now it's at the Wyndham Hotel. It used to be the Crown Plaza, but they were just bought out by Wyndham. It's on Harbor Boulevard. You go past Disneyland probably about 10 blocks, and it's right on Harbor Boulevard in Garden Grove.
Very cool. And how late are you guys going to be there today?
Well, the sale's on until 5, and so we'll be heading back after we load up the truck and get on the freeway.
There you go. So if anybody's listening to this episode today, and it's before 5 o'clock, California time, of course,
yes,
head on over there and say hi to Nancy. Say, hey, we listened to you on Tales from the Mouse House.
That's right.
And I'm actually waving my hand like everybody can see. Hey there.
Yeah, and I got all dressed up for it too, for the podcast.
Well, did you wearing your little Mickey Mouse ears and stuff like that?
I won't say.
Oh.
Nancy, are the Disneyana memberships only open to residents of the United States?
No, I believe they have people from all over everywhere. Yeah, their website would be able to fill them in on all the details of that.
Very cool.
And I'm sure it's open to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's Disney. It has to be open to everybody. So,
it's worldwide.
Yeah, really. So if anybody wanted to get a hold of you or maybe purchase a couple or all of your books, even the pendant, how could they do that?
Well, I have my own website. It's called hiddenmickeybook.com. And if you go onto that, you'll be able to find links to all the books and the pendants, and I'd be able to sign and personalize. We're also available in the e-format, too, if people would be more interested in that. They can go onto Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, iTunes. Yeah, and also hiddenmickeybook.com. They can get it all there.
Very cool.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here for a second.
Uh-oh.
I hear somebody faintly in the background. Would you like to introduce him?
Well, would you like to meet my husband, Russ, who is here with me? Well, let me say hi to Russ. Here you go.
Hello.
Hi, Russ. How are you?
I'm doing just great. How about you?
Doing really, really well. How are things there? Are they really crazy?
Well, right now, everybody is just kind of settling in with all their Disneyana merchandise, and it's starting to look pretty cool with banners and all kinds of little statues, and it looks like we even have a piece of the Buzz Lightyear ride part here.
Very cool.
Oh, I wish I was there.
This is a dangerous place to be. I'm not sure if you want to come.
I don't know. It's Disney. I want to be anywhere that's Disney related.
Well, when you come here, I think it's going to cost you more money than it will by actually going to the park.
Probably.
But the nice thing is you have it to take home and enjoy for years and years and years until you're ready to come here and sell it.
That's
good
right.
point. Good point.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having us. We really enjoyed chatting with you, and you guys have a great day.
Thanks. You too.
All right.
Well, that's episode 96 wrapped up in a listener-contributed extravaganza. Dun, 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 dun. Corn dogs. Hey, if you have any interesting Disney stories, we want to hear about them. You can send those to us at talespodcast@cox.net.
And have you checked out our sponsor, Randy Crane from Mouse Ear Vacations? You really should, especially if you're thinking about taking a vacation. Randy's a great guy who loves Disney as much as we do. So if you're looking for an honest travel agent who can get you the best deal on just about any vacation, be sure to give Randy a shout. You can find Randy at www.randyc-mouseearvacations.com, and you can read about him on our sponsor page at www.talescast.com.
And don't forget to check out, oh heck, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/talespodcast. We post all kinds of fun videos there. You're not going to want to miss them. You know why?
Why?
Well, because then you'll miss them.
If you like to read, how about heading over to our blog site? You can find that at www.talespodcast.blogspot.com. You can find some pretty interesting stuff from Al on his happiest blog on earth, or from me on my Pixie Tales.
You can hear our show on Stitcher Smart Radio. Stitcher allows you to listen to all your favorite shows directly from your smart devices, on demand and on the go. Don't have Stitcher? Download it for free today at Stitcher.com or in your app stores. Stitcher, Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio. You can also catch the latest episodes of our favorite shows on Stitcher. Podcasts like Randy Crane's Stories of the Magic, Take Him With You, and many, many more.
And be sure to follow us on Twitter for any cool updates or announcements. You can find us at Tales Podcast. And did you know that we have a Facebook page?
We do.
We sure do. Just go to Facebook and search for Tales from the Mouse House Podcast, and be sure to like us while you're there.
And if you'd like to submit a review of a Disney movie or maybe an attraction or restaurant, we want to hear them.
And please, how about hopping over to iTunes and leave some feedback and ratings for the show? We really need your positive feedback and ratings. 5 stars would help push the show up. So, if you like the podcast, why not tell everyone so they can like it too? That would sure help the show be found easier. As always, if you'd like to send us a comment or just say,
Hiya, pal.
You can send us an email to talespodcast@cox.net, leave us voicemail on the hotline at 304-TALES23, send us a tweet or message on Facebook, or just think happy thoughts our way.
This podcast is copyright 2014 by Storyteller Audio Productions. All Disneyland music and related materials remain the property and copyright of the Disney Company.
Thanks for tuning in and welcoming us into your home.
And remember,
Make it a Mickey Day.
Uh-huh. You can also catch the latest episodes of our favorite show.